Broadcasting from the Cannon Motor Studio on Central Avenue in downtown Laurel, Mississippi. This is Good Morning Pine Belt with host Ben Winpickler on SuperTalk Laurel 99.3.
All right, here we go. Good morning, Pine Belt. We are back live here in the Cannon Motor Studio on a beautiful, a little dreary Tuesday morning. It's not too bad.
Wednesday.
Oh, it is Wednesday. Well, I don't know what day it is.
It's so dreary you forgot what day it was.
I have. We're live here in the Cannon Motor Studio. It's you know what? It's always beautiful in downtown Laurel. It doesn't matter what the day is.
That is the proper tourism answer.
Absolutely. We got George Bassi in here with us for this first segment, but before I bring him in to talk more, we want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by our good friends over at Community Bank. Local bankers, local decisions, and plenty of convenient locations, including one just down the block here on Central Avenue. Go see them today. Well, as we know now, we are talking to George Bassi with the Lauren Rogers Museum of Arts. And George, here's not quite anything like downtown Laurel at Christmas time.
That is true. And especially now with all the events that go on throughout, especially with Laurel Main Street, but also just all around town.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we're sitting here looking out at these beautiful new Christmas wreaths that we have hanging out here, and it's just it really is. This when this time of year comes up, it's like when people call us a Hallmark town, this is why.
It is. And, too, we realize tourism-wise, December is kind of a big month.
Yeah.
There are people that will come here because it's decorated for Christmas. And so we have a lot of particularly hometown visitors that think this is a magical time of year because it is.
It really is.
And they really love coming to see what happens.
And we've had a Christmas movie filmed here.
That is right.
That's true. I mean, I'm just saying. We did have one filmed right out there in the Leontine Price Park there. Well, before we get into some more things that are happening here in the city, obviously want to always talk about what is happening at the Lauren Rogers Museum of Arts, one of the coolest assets that we have here in Laurel. And I know y'all had so much stuff going on during the fall and everything, but y'all do have several things happening in the Christmas season, including something that's really cool.
We do, and it's really the first year for it. And it's people probably, if they have kept up with us the last couple of years, beginning with our centennial year 2 years ago, we did a projection show onto the front of the museum. We used the building as a screen, and it was just incredible. It was about a 15-minute set to music, and it was really awesome. We did it 2 years in a row, and we did not do that this year in October because the guy that does that had something else that he wanted us to try. And so we're going to be doing this. So December the 18th and 19th. That's a Thursday and a Friday evenings.
From Thursday and Friday before Christmas.
Before Christmas. Yeah. From 5 to 8 on the front lawn of the museum, rather than project onto the facade to the building, the Colin McQuilkin, who does the projection show for us, he has, I'm going to call it an inflatable igloo. But
that's the best thing to call it.
I think he calls it a little sphere, but it is just the top half of a sphere. But you can walk in it, and it is 40 feet across.
Wow.
It's the diameter. So it's pretty big, and it is a screen on the outside and the inside.
Oh.
And it will be projecting Christmas scenes. It'll be set to music. We'll have Christmas music. We'll have a snow machine. We'll have hot chocolate and cider and things inside, and we'll have like craft activities for kids. But it's kind of an all family. Any ages are going to love it. It's great photo ops for Christmas as well. And so it is kind of come and go. It's free, of course. It'll be on the museum front lawn. It'll be in the evening. The museum won't be open, but it'll just kind of encompass the entire front of the museum. You won't be. The building would be pretty much covered up by this big inflatable. It looks like an igloo. And you walk inside it, and you kind of have music inside and out. So I think it'll be really festive. It'll be fun. It's kind of hard to explain to people what it is. So we're doing it 2 nights in a row.
Okay.
Because we figured the first night people are going to be confused,
yeah.
and they'll see photos and they go, "Ooh," then the next night they'll want to come.
Right. So you showed us a couple, and not exactly what the inside's going to look like, but you showed us what the inside of it looks like when he's doing other things, and it really is. It's like the Sphere in Vegas, but small.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And so it really will be the first Christmas projection that he's done with this inflatable. And so it'll be it's really unique and special. We think hopefully it'll be and the thinking is that we might do it every other year and do our regular projection show in October onto the front of the museum so it's different each year as we do it. So.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm sitting here planning out the day. I'm gonna go get the kids from daycare, maybe take them and get something to eat, and then go back over there because that's really cool. So.
I know, and we really have it's one of those things. We've got our museum gala coming up on December 6th, and so once we get past that, we'll really push a lot of information about it.
Yeah.
And we'll probably have a few things added to it just to kind of make it really a lot of fun. But it's going to be I think a really, really cool thing. And it ties into so much. There's so much going on, and it's kind of 2 nights where there's not really an event downtown.
Right.
People are still walking around. They're still going to Prancer Path.
Yeah.
They're still looking at downtown lights or driving to Mason Park.
Yeah.
And so to be able to kind of piggyback on some of that is, I think, it'll be a lot of fun.
Right. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Good segue there. The gala is coming up, and as we say all the time, most everything that is done at the museum is free, but that doesn't mean it's free to y'all.
Exactly, and this is the one event that there is a ticket, and so it is a big deal for us. It is our major fundraising event, and so. We have a great auction, and the key to the auction is realizing, Ben, that people that aren't there can still bid.
Yeah,
and so we loved if there's community support, if people want to go online and visit there's about 150 auction items.
Okay, and they're usually really good.
It's a little bit. There's artwork. There's incredible trips. There's home and garden. There's all kinds of wonderful prizes, dinners, all kinds of things, and we have. Great support, great committees that do all of that. All volunteers ask and get all those items for us, and it's like I said, a big money maker. The auction brings in a little over about $125,000 each year.
Wow!
For the museum, and so it's almost 10% of our operating budget comes from that auction.
That
and
one time, yeah.
And so it's really, we really couldn't do it, though, without the community support. But I hope people will, even if they're not coming, would go and maybe look at the auction items and bid.
So are there still tickets available?
There are not. As far as I know, I think it is. There's a waiting list, but there's a few names left on that list. I think we've slowly been working through it. It fills up so quickly. We can only seat about 375 people, and so it usually fills up pretty quickly once the invitations are sent. And so... But never hurts to call just to check and see.
Just to check and see. But you can, like you said, still support through the auction. How do people do that?
Well, we have the museum. You can go to the museum website, and there'll be something to click on.
Okay.
The website, there's a separate website for it.
For the actual auction.
It's LRMA Gala 2025.ggo.bid.
Okay. Well,
Too much to remember.
Yeah, just click on the link on the site.
Go to the museum website and just click on the gala, find the gala page. But we'll put it out on social media and all. The auction begins on Thursday, December 4th.
Okay, so before.
It goes live.
Yeah.
And so we'll have you basically have about 48 hours to bid. It'll start at 6 p.m. on that Thursday, December 4th, and it ends at 8 p.m. on Saturday, December 6th.
Okay, well, that's fun.
So it's 50 hours total,
but
it's kind of a fun 50 hours.
Yeah.
That
do y'all get a lot of people that bid outside of the event?
We do. We get a lot that are there, of course, that are bidding.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. We have people from out of state, but a lot of them have ties to Laurel.
Yeah.
Grew up here maybe,
Right.
or maybe a fan of a certain artist we have, or there's a certain trip they want.
Yeah.
And so we'll get a lot of bids that way. But the auction itself is open. So beginning this Saturday, on the 22nd, you can actually visit the museum, and all the items are on display.
Oh, so you can go
We
ahead
have 2 big galleries.
Get an idea of what
so
you want.
you can just walk and look and kind of see, and the website will be listed in there as well for people. But you can actually get a preview of everything, and for the next 2 weeks, beginning Saturday, they'll be open to the public.
There you go. All right, George. I know we touched on it at the beginning of the segment here, but before we run out of time, man, there's so many things going on down here at this time of year, and obviously we focus a lot on bringing people in, but for the locals, it's just an incredible time of year to be here.
It is. No, there's I think Mary Marketplace is this Saturday at the Magnolia Center.
Yeah.
Then you've got Prancer Path. All that starts here pretty soon.
Next Tuesday, I believe.
Is it with everything here on it? Mason Park, of course, is just awesome. Landrum's Country does a lot of Christmas programming, which is really a lot of fun. And then Mary on the Midway is back at the fairgrounds. That's on the weekends through it. And then, of course, Scrooge the Musical at the Little Theater.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it's kind of a big deal. That's a fun Christmas production for them to do, and it's over 2 weekends. And I think it'll, I'll assume it will sell out. Of course, you got Pancake Day and Parade, which is.
And it's all on the same day this year.
Everything. We try to pack everything in as we can.
Nobody worry. They're not separating the days anymore and the nights. It is back on the same day. Well, George, what would you tell local people who are listening who I know we talk about this all the time, but why is it more important to come this time of year than really, I mean, it's always important, but why more so this time of year?
Well, it's a wonderful way to support local businesses. In terms of shopping, in particular for Christmas, but also just because there's so many people that put so much into all of these events. Yeah. And it's a great way and it's also just exciting. You don't really have to leave Jones County to get to see and experience the magic of Christmas. It's something just about every day. You
really don't. Well, George, we always appreciate you coming in, and I'm sure we'll talk to you here soon, and we'll talk about what's happening in the new year in downtown Laurel.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. All right. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Miss Rebecca Patrick from Wally Properties. Stick around. We'll be right back. Good morning, Pine Belt, from the Cannon Motor Studio.
You're tuned in to Good Morning Pine Belt on SuperTalk Laurel 99.3.
All right, here we go. Good morning, Pine Belt. We are back live here in the Cannon Motor Studio in historic downtown Laurel. All right, thanks to Mr. George Bassi there from the Lauren Rogers Museum of Arts. Again, if you have not check that out. If you've never been to the Lauren Rogers Museum, go check it out. It's an incredible, incredible place. Before I bring in Miss Rebecca Patrick, I do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by McLaurin Carpets out in Soso. From carpet to custom tile showering and every type of flooring in between, go see McLaurin Carpets today for quality that will long be remembered after pricing is forgotten. They're right there off of Highway 28 in Soso or at McLaurinCarpets.com. All right, joining us now is Miss Rebecca Patrick from Wally Properties. And Miss Rebecca, we're going to talk a lot about these properties, but I don't think people understand how great of an asset the museum is.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm following George Bassi. Come on. Now, he did follow me last time, so I guess, maybe it is out. But the museum is fabulous. And George can tell you all about the history of Laurel, too, in addition to, the museum and everything. And the museum, started out as a result partially of the timber industry, which is, of course, is part of that segue into, we might not even exist right now had not the Rogers, the Greens, all those families come down back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And so, the museum is rooted in our timber industry history, as is our business. So, then the museum is fabulous. Just fabulous.
It is. And y'all do timber is what we were found. That's the reason Laurel is what it is. And now taking up the reins of the former Masons and the Greens and that whole thing are people like Mr. Jim Wally and his whole crew. And Miss Rebecca, we talk every time about these properties that y'all have. Y'all really do have something for everyone. But looking at this property you brought in today, and it's here in Jones County.
It is here in Jones County. It is not... Okay, it is not on the website yet. Okay, y'all. They're used to me telling them that too. I'm going to get to go out to the property on Monday.
Okay,
but I know approximately where it is. I've been out in that area before. It's 86 acres, and this is a unique opportunity for hunters. 86 acres located inside the DeSoto National Forest, totally surrounded by the DeSoto National Forest. The DeSoto National Forest, the Chickasahey District, an area where this is located, is nearly 400,000 acres. Yeah, it's incredible. So you get an 86-acre property, but in reality,
you really get 400,000.
You're getting almost 400,000 acres. Is that not the coolest thing ever?
Yeah.
It's about 5 miles east of Highway 15 in the Ovett community.
Okay, the big city.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not that far out because they do have a Dollar General now.
Hey,
you don't have to come all the way back into Laurel, although you can and shop and do all those kinds of things and all. But it is, out in the middle of nowhere.
But there's a DG.
But there is a DG close by, and it has a small it has a small hunting camp on it.
Oh, nice.
With a fireplace, washer dryer, community water, and a well.
Oh.
Okay, and power. So this is one of those unique properties where, you pretty much can come in and have your own hunting camp. And we all know deer season started this week, right?
It did. So you can get it now and get the rest of the season.
You can get the rest of the season for sure. The landowner has some game cameras out there, and he's going to share some of the wildlife pictures of it. So unless some of you beat me to getting it up on the website, which will be the next week. This is a challenge here. Yeah. Unless some of you beat me to it, we'll have some of those pictures, hopefully, that we can share on the website, too. There's a creek that runs through the property and has a little metal bridge crossing it, so you can get to the other side easily. You don't have to get your feet wet. There's a small pond. And here's one of the things that I'm going to appreciate this property. I'm familiar with the area. I have not been to this specific property.
Yeah.
But it is one of those very rural areas where there, no street lights in sight.
Nice.
And I can relate to this because a few weeks ago, I was out at my property in Lincoln County.
Yeah.
That I inherited. That was my grandparents that we purchased. And I had not been out there at night in a long, long time.
Right.
And when I tell you, I looked up at the sky and I could not believe how many stars.
Oh, it's incredible.
Or how many satellites.
That's true. But half of them are probably satellites.
It was beautiful. And I can only imagine that this place will be just as spectacular because there are no lights. You can look up, just fix your bonfire, sit back, and enjoy the peace and quiet. This is that place.
Yeah, and that's what you want in a good little hunt camp.
Exactly.
Somewhere where you can get away. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about the sound of the street behind you or the street lights. You just go out there and
cicadas
disconnect.
And crickets and a hoot owl every now and then. That would be wonderful. So it is coming to the website soon, but if you want to beat the crowd, you can give us a call and we can talk about it and we can set you up a site visit and everything like that. So
there you go.
86 acres in Jones County in the DeSoto National Forest.
86 acres is kind of a good happy medium. It's not
too small,
it's not too big. It's kind of right in the middle.
It's kind of right in the middle. And again, like we said, the 86 acres comes with a built-in neighborhood of 400,000 more.
Yeah.
Nearly. I mean,
you're getting a good deal.
I think it was like 378,000 when I got looked on the website.
If you pencil it all out,
you're
getting really for pennies on the dollar.
Exactly, you really are.
So obviously, y'all, this is a good happy medium, but we talk about it all the time. Y'all have properties for everybody, and if you don't see one, because we've talked about this before. Just because you don't see it on the website doesn't mean it's not out there.
Exactly. We have people that will call us and say, look, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. A lot of times they want water properties. They want something with a creek or a river. Be aware there will be some FEMA floodplain parcels with that parts with that. But basically, we try to fit, what you need to what we have or what we're going to have.
Right.
And let us know what you're looking for. We have recently closed 3 properties that never went on the website because they were a fit for clients who had given us a wish list.
Okay.
So these properties came up and we're like, you know what? We got somebody we know.
Yeah.
We know somebody. And they're on our list. And so 1 was on a river.
Okay.
And 2 were on creeks. And they were hunting properties.
Yeah.
And everybody's happy, because we got these listings. It was like, oh, hey, yeah, we can match this with this client, and it worked out beautifully. We've recently sold some cattle farms.
Oh, okay.
And also some properties that are suitable for building poultry houses.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. Poultry houses, I have learned, you grow up in Laurel with Sanderson Wayne, and you kind of think you know chickens, but all you really know is how good they taste.
Right.
And so there's a lot involved in having a poultry farm, and so we know what those regulations are, how big the property has to be.
And there are lots of regulations.
There are, and so we do have an inventory a way to do our inventory that if we know that it's fit for a poultry farm, that we can reach out to you. So if you come up and say, I want to start my own poultry farm, then we can look at our stuff, or we can be on the lookout for it. And so, we can really suit whatever you need.
Any need. I think that's incredible really cool that y'all will have that wish list, because a lot of times people would be like, oh, well, I know this person was looking for it, but I'm going to put it out there because maybe we can get a little bit more if we put it out there and bid more. Y'all don't do that because you want to take care of your people.
We want to take care of our clients, absolutely. Yeah. Whether they're a timber client. And in fact, the property that we talked about today that's in the DeSoto National Forest, the client who is the landowner, we've worked and helped him manage his timber for many, many years, and have helped his family. So, the two sides cross over a good bit: timber management,
property selling,
and property and land management. And we also, like, if you want to get a property, like, say for instance, you're looking at this property and you want us to help you manage it. Yeah. We do land management plans, timber management plans. Yeah. And, you want to manage it for recreational purposes? Do you want to manage it for deer? Do you want to manage it for environmental purposes? Okay. Or all three, which they all really
if
interact
you're doing one,
with one
you're
another.
probably doing all three. Yeah.
And so, that side we've got that possibility that if you wanted to learn about timber management, we can do that for you too, or help you manage your land for whatever needs you want to. Yeah. So, we're kind of like a one-stop shop.
You aren't just there for
timber.
The purchase.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're there for the long
haul. We are there for the long haul. That is exactly right.
Yeah, and that's a big deal because, like I said, you do get a lot of people who, as soon as that property's sold, you won't hear from them again.
No, and we don't like to pester people either, right. But at the same time, if you need us, we are there to help you with your especially your land management needs.
Yeah, because some people will buy it because they love it, but unless you really know how to do it, you really don't know how to do it.
That's right.
There's so much that goes into it. So.
It's kind of like driving a car. I know how to drive it, but I don't know how to work it.
That's so true. Yeah.
You may know how to live on a property, but you may not know how to manage it properly. And so we can help with that as well.
Absolutely. So if somebody's interested, in the property we talked about, or getting a wish list together, or maybe figuring out how to manage the property they already have, how do they do that?
Well, they can call us. Our phone number is 601-477-3014. And if you forget it, just go to the internet and type in wallyproperties.com. or wallyforestry.com, because both will take you to our website.
There you go. She's Rebecca Patrick with Wally Properties and Wally Forestry. And, hey, this time of year, if you're looking for hunting land, or you're thinking about sitting in somebody else's land and you want something for next year, call them. They'll get you taken care of. Yeah. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk high school football with Caleb Hamill. Stick around. Good morning, Pine Belt, from the Cannon Motor Studio.
We're back to Good Morning Pine Belt. SuperTalk Laurel 99.3.
There we go. Good morning, Pine Belt. We are back live here from the Cannon Motor Studio in beautiful, historic downtown Laurel, Mississippi. Our thanks to Miss Rebecca Patrick from Wally Properties and Wally Forestry. They will get you taken care of for any property that you may need, or if you already have a property, call them and they will help you take care of it, because that is just as important as finding the dream property. Before I bring in Caleb Hamill, I do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by Bank First. Bank First, the merger has officially happened with Magnolia State Bank. It is all set and done. Go check out Bank First today for all of your banking needs, really anything that you might need. Still the same family that you know and trust, just a new name. It's all it is. Go check out Bank First today. Caleb, I was waiting on, I'm sure you figured it out, I was waiting on that beat to drop, and it took a little bit longer than I thought it would.
It's like Phil Collins in the air tonight. You always think it's happening sooner than it comes.
Yeah, I was like,
you're waiting, twiddling your thumbs, so it finally is.
I know. I was sitting there like refreshing pages, and I was like, wait, it's still not okay. There it is. All right, Caleb. Let's talk some high school football. We had all 4 of the county schools in the playoffs last week, and now we don't. Now we have one. It was the tough week for Jones County football, and then there was one.
It's just one of those things, man. Luck of the draw. You're dealing with let's just start with Northeast Jones. Tough draw. Old Brook is a terrific team. We've seen them earlier this year, and what they were able to do to South Jones. If they start fast, man, it's hard to slow them down.
Yeah.
Even if you claw your way back into it. I was surprised that Northeast didn't hold their own, at least defensively, for the first half. I expected it to be close at halftime, and then Brookhaven probably sprint away with it, but that was just an all-out dominant effort for the Panthers over Northeast Jones.
Yeah.
And then I think the surprising result, outside of the game we covered, West Jones losing to Hancock, I really thought South Jones was going to put up a big fight against Wayne County, but I think offensively South Jones has just become flat, or had become flat late in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you could just key in on Anquan Jackson and do pretty well if you're a defense.
Right.
It's whenever they got it to other people, the number 5, that they were able to really get the offense going, because defense was, again, keying in on them. And if those players didn't show up, then all of a sudden, your offense was nothing moving forward. And that's not a slight to Coach Harrington, who did a terrific job with them this year, especially first half of the season. But losing Anthony Jackson as a running back early in the year really took away one of their big offensive weapons, and really helped the balance of that team to have 2 Jacksons in the ballgame, which they can have next year.
Right.
But it'll be a different quarterback back there because Colin Flowers graduates. But all around, happy to see that we had 4 teams in the playoffs for a county. And again, that was the first time since 2004, and only the second time all time. And it's a privilege to get to make a tough decision, in the first week of playoffs, to say, who are we going to cover?
Yeah.
And turns out we picked one of 3 games that didn't go our way.
Yeah.
As West Jones also fell to Hancock.
Yeah, let's talk about that game for a minute, because that was a very close game there in Soso, and Hancock. Been a good team most of the year, and West Jones just could not quite find it there at the end. Yeah,
the thing is, Hancock, I mentioned it last week, is a very hot and cold type team. Just depends on what the matchup is. And Kyson Canan, their quarterback at Hancock, is a very hot, heavy, mobile quarterback. He is a very run-first type of guy. They can go 5 wide, and it's a design quarterback draw.
Right.
It's one of those things where you have to respect the receivers on the edge, because he can throw it, but it leaves you gashed up the middle. And the problem is for West Jones, man, Coach Reynolds and I talked after the game. I think we tallied up a total of 7 injuries involving defensive line or linebackers this season.
Yeah.
And after the second drive of the game for West Jones, Luke Everwine goes down after West Jones punts it back. He was part of the special teams unit, but also a big linebacker for the team.
Right.
Had already made a couple tackles, and he's out for the game and would have been out for the rest of the season likely with a knee problem. So you lose another linebacker, and I think Hancock realized that and just said, we're just going to run it right at them. And Canan finished the game with Lord knows how many yards. I actually did get the note from it later, but it was impressive just how much he was able to do. 231 rushing yards for their quarterback.
Yeah.
96 total yards.
Yeah.
So they beat West Jones 21-14 in what was a highly defensive first 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden an offensive explosion of back and forth. I think in 6 plays we had 3 touchdowns scored.
Wow.
In that fourth quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. Tough loss there for West Jones, but I believe moving forward they're going to be in a good spot. And it like you said, it is tough to have all of them out, but hey, we do still have one left. Now, I want to talk about them for a little while. And to quote the great Michael Scott from The Office in regards to Laurel, my had the turntables.
I was wondering which one you're going to pull out of the air.
My had the turntables.
Yeah. I mean, this is very reflexive of their 2023 campaign, in which they made it all the way to Oxford to face West Point. And it really feels like if they make a run to the championship, that's who they're going to face.
Yeah.
West Point's just so dominant up there in the north. But this is a Laurel team that, again, believes in the mantra that it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Right.
And how they started this year was with a lot of tough teams on their schedule. We talk about it every week. But since region play began, man, they have been highly, highly defensive. And again, Brookhaven is the one game in which recently they've given up the most points, which was only 14. And so this matchup, the matchup on Friday, I should say, was another one where Laurel just sunk in their teeth, dug in their heels, and just played sound defense, and then the offense showed up as well. So if they can continue to operate like they have defensively, which, if you take this portion of the season and just kind of only look at it, the region play and beyond, man, it's almost like that West Jones team back in 2023 and their defense of what they were able to do, man, because it's just rock solid right now.
Absolutely. I'm sitting here looking at the scores. The most that they have allowed has been 12, and that was to Natchez. I mean, it's been
that Brookhaven game.
Yes, 12. 14 to Brookhaven, 12 shutout North Pike, only 10 to Summerall, 3 to South Jones, and 3 to Purvis. I'll tell you, the game that I covered on the sideline, and I've told everybody since, their defense impressed me the most. They really have come alive in this later part of the season.
Mm-hmm. They really have, and it's just one of those things where a tough schedule early on can help prepare you for a moment like this, and then keeping the great guys healthy. I mean, guys like Tomash Harris, Jamel Abney up front with the defense are two big studs in making some tackles. You have others as well. I could go on and on, for the final 4 minutes of this segment to talk about all the different defensive guys. But, you tally that up with a sophomore quarterback, Bryson Bivens, who last year shined in some small spots as a freshman and really worked on him in the off season, built up his confidence, still has a good core of receivers he can throw to with Jenkins and Collier and others. And all of a sudden, you have this team that know each other well. They've played with each other for a little while now, and he's growing into his own as Bivens. And that defense, like I said, has been around since the start of region play. And it's just been a matter of can they match it with the offensive performance. And lately, they've been playing their best ball.
Absolutely. So let's talk about what is obviously now going to be our game of the week this Friday. Laurel takes a trip down to the coast, and you were telling me off air, though, that they're not playing at Stone. They're actually playing at Gulf Coast Stadium, right?
That's right. They'll play at Gulf Coast Community College. Yeah, they've been playing all their games there this year. I want to say that they're constructing a stadium or new stadium for Stone on their campus.
Okay.
So that's just where they are right now with all that.
Gotcha. Well, what does that matchup look like? How I know we've talked a little bit about Stone, but they how have they looked this year? How do you see them matching up against Laurel?
They've got a couple weapons at quarterback. It's going to be Xander Howard, who had a pretty decent game against Summerall in last week's matchup in the playoffs. Not a great completion percentage, 57% on the year, but they have a huge rushing attack with Green, who is one of their lead running backs. And, in fact, they had Aiden Green and Jaden Collins as two guys that had over 100 yards against the Bobcats last week. Both accounted for 2 touchdowns each. So they have the ability to have explosive runs. Both scored on super long plays of 70-plus yards. So they can score quick if you can give them space. But Laurel has been so good at defending the run. I think back to that Brookhaven matchup in which they contained not only Jaden Allen, Olbrook's quarterback, but also Caden Quarles, the talented running back. Mm-hmm. And so you really limited their action and have been pretty good at stopping the run for other teams as well. So I don't. You may see Laurel give up a big run, maybe 2 in the game on Friday night, but as far as matchups are concerned, I kind of like how well this sets up. And other people are saying the same thing. There's a lot of people that are picking Laurel in this game come Friday night.
I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think that, like you said, Laurel has been playing so well. I think that they could have a great chance to hold them defensively. Well, Caleb, we've ran out of time in this segment, but I do think if you got time, I'm going to bring you back in the final segment to talk through some more playoff scenarios across the state. Obviously, we'll hit on Heidelberg and their latest conquest out there in Jasper County. But real quick before this segment ends, anything else that people need to know about our Game of the Week matchup this Friday on our station?
Well, they need to know that, one, people can find it right here on SuperTalk 99.3, but also there's no reason to not be headed down there to a great stadium for a ball game this weekend, because this is a big opportunity for a group of guys that has really fought through adversity at the beginning of the year. It'd be so easy for them to give up after the start they had, and some big blowout losses to some top-tier teams. They have what it takes to make a run and possibly face off against either Brookhaven or Wayne County in South State. They're playing their best football at the right time. Get out there, or if not, listen to the broadcast. We're going to break it down a little bit more in the next segment.
There you go. All right, we'll be right back on Good Morning Pine Belt. We'll continue our conversation with Caleb Hamill, play-by-play announcer for Jones County High School football. Game of the Week. We'll be right back from the Cannon Motor Studio. This is Super Talk Laurel 99.3.
This is Good Morning Pine Belt on Super Talk Laurel 99.3.
All right, here we go. Good morning, Pine Belt. We are back from the Cannon Motor Studio. We're going to jump back in with Caleb Hamill, but before I do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by Dixie Electric Power Association. And Dixie Electric Power Association, a member-owned electric co-op that offers broadband internet, fantastic internet. Go check out DE Fast Link today. All right, Caleb, we're going to continue our conversation, and we talked off air, and one thing that I think will be fun, I want you to go through each one of the classifications. We have 7 of those here in the state of Mississippi, and briefly tell me who you think is going to take home the trophy there in each classification, maybe just a brief explanation as to why.
Gentlemen, Tupelo, odds-on favorite for 7A right now, although they've got a big matchup this week against Germantown. I think Germantown definitely has what it takes to beat them. Question is whether or not they will take advantage of that. So if Tupelo is able to get past Germantown, I think they cruise all the way through the championship. But if not, if Germantown is able to beat them, could be a fun matchup coming up in the championship. At that point, it could be Germantown, it could be Oxford coming out of the north, and honestly, anybody left in the south could finish out the rest of the way and go to the championship. But I only think the South has a chance if Tupelo's not playing in the championship game.
Okay.
Now, roll down to 6A. What you have left out of the South, Hattiesburg and Pascagoula is going to be a good matchup. I still think Hattiesburg is going to roll right there. They're playing their best ball right now. I think they would match up well against Picayune in the South State Championship, because I expect Picayune to be a better matchup against Hancock than West was, just with the depletion of linebacker core that West had. Picayune's not going to have that problem.
Right.
But out of the north, Warren Central playing well, should roll against Lake Cormorant. But Neshoba Central, in the big upset last week against South Panola, they're playing Ridgeland. I think Ridgeland's going to make it to South State, and at that point, it could be Warren Central playing for a championship game against Hattiesburg, but the Tigers, I think, are rolling too well right now, probably going to get that first state championship in MHSAA.
Yeah.
5A, West Point. All right, moving on. No, just kidding. No, out of the north at least. But Laurel and Brookhaven in South State, that's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be at Old Brook if that happens. And again, that's me conjecturing that Laurel and Brookhaven both win.
Right.
But I think Laurel in a rematch, playing better offensively now, could make it more interesting. Hard to play on the road, though. Most people think it's going to be West Point versus Brookhaven in the championship, with West Point winning just because of how good they are.
Yeah.
But don't count out the South and Laurel or Brookhaven.
Yep. So West Point's kind of that South Panola of old.
Right, and they're kind of like Heidelberg of this year. We'll get to that in a couple classifications. Now to 4A. Man, this is one of those wide-open regions now, because originally I would have told you Columbia's going to run away with it, but they just about dropped one in Newton County last week.
Yeah, very close game.
Yeah, and so they're going to match up with Pass Christian this week for a chance to go to South State. But, you got good teams all around. You got Louisville up in the north, along with Kosciuszko, a possible rematch for them coming in North State. Macomb, Poplarville is a game going on this week. Poplarville's not who they were last year. This is actually a rematch of a game earlier this season that Macomb won. So I think Columbia should be the odds-on favorite. But, again, the north is so strong when it comes to 4A. So look for whoever would be the winner between potentially Louisville and Kosciuszko to possibly take it all.
Okay.
Now, down to 3A. This is probably one of the most wide open regions of all. On the north side, you've got all 4 teams remaining are from the same region, Region 4. Choctaw County and Noxubee County facing off against each other this week, and that's a rematch of last year's overall state championship. So it used to be split between North and South. One of those two, I think, are going to be the ones that come out of it and play for the state championship from the North. In the South, though, big matchup this week, Union and Raleigh.
Big.
And Union undefeated still. Raleigh's a great team, though. Stumbled a little bit against PCS, but I think Raleigh may be able to make the run here and possibly win another state title. 2A, Heidelberg, moving on to 1A. It's just that open shut, man. We did a calculation on our podcast, Varsity Voices, this week of mathematics and point differentials to figure out who has the best chance to win it all. Heidelberg was the biggest favorite out of all classifications.
Who does not Heidelberg play out of the North?
East Webster. That's the only one that I think would give him a fight.
Okay.
And then out of 1A, South is so strong, man. You got Taylorsville and Lee County, and then Nanawai and Simmons playing this week. Out of the North, it's going to be likely Calhoun City, possibly Biggersville. But, man, your guess is as good as mine. Taylorsville's playing hot right now. They're on a big win streak. I think they're going to make it to the championship game to face off against Calhoun City, which would be a huge game. And at that point, man, I like the Tartars. I think Calhoun City's been the season-long favorite, but hot teams sometimes are the ones that can take it the rest of the way.
You're right. Well, Caleb, you did it. You made it with 20 seconds to spare. Remind people, though, where are the state championships this year? I can never keep up with that. I never remember.
So they're going to be in Starkville.
Okay.
So Starkville's going to be that. And then if you're following Laurel, this possible championship game is going to be a Thursday night matchup over there in Davis Wade Stadium.
There you go.
So that'll be a 7:30 start for that one.
There you go. Well, Caleb, we did it. You can't find better coverage of high school football than right here on Super Talk, and I know Caleb and them do a great podcast as well to break that down. Remind people real quick of the name of that.
Remind people of what now?
The name of your high school podcast.
Varsity Voices. You can get it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube.
There you go. All right, he's Caleb Hamill. Check him out this Friday night on Super Talk Laurel 99.3, the app, or you can just ask, unless you're Kelly Sander, Alexa to play it. Caleb, we always appreciate you coming on, man.
Appreciate it, Ben.
Yes, sir. Care. All right, it's 10 o'clock. You know what that means. Go see Rocky over at K-Rocks. We appreciate you joining us this week, every week, in the weeks to come. Go home, see your family, and tell them you love them. Middays with Gerard is up next, but keep your dial on Super Talk Laurel 99.3. We'll talk to you next week.